All right, awesome. We are on, mate. So, morning, Connor. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for asking, mate. How are you?
Very good, mate. So, look, this morning we've got Connor Inch, and we are going to talk about podcasting, the importance of podcasting, and how it can help you to build authority within your business, and as a revenue driver tool for your business as well. So, I'm really keen to do this. We've had a conversation before, Connor. We do webinars. We did a little SaaS Dads podcast which the last episode came out a couple of weeks ago, I think. Um, we do well out of our podcasts and all our webinars. We can definitely do better. I know that for a fact, but we're all in that place of like just moving on, moving forward. At least we're putting one foot in front of the other every day, kind of thing, and I'll focus on that. But I think today is going to be awesome to talk about why podcasting, how that can help you grow channels as your business owner, and like how to monetize these things, how to attract your audience, mistakes, how to get it set up. So if you wouldn't mind, Con, if you want to just give us a little bit of background about yourself, like what it is you do, the audience that you help, and just have a little intro about what you do to help people with their podcasting, then we'll get into some of those areas and give some people some great value here today.
Yeah, cool. Sounds good, mate. And I'll share screen at some point and go through some slides, but it won't be death by slideshow. And anyone who wants to jump in and ask questions, feel free to interrupt. And Gary, if you want to, pull me to one side and we'll go through something in real time. I don't mind. I'll do audits, whatever.
Mate,
So
I'm going to ask questions. Don't worry about that.
take it in whatever direction it goes. So yeah, my name's Connor, and I've been in the direct response world for over 6 years now, where I've been fortunate enough to work for 100 different brands in different niches, and essentially, long story short, taking the advertising direct response world, the knowledge I gained there, and combined that with conventional podcasting to help people do profitable podcasting. That's the in a nutshell version of what we do, and we work with people generally. The number one rule we have for the people we work with is, that they're experts in what they do. I think that's really important if they're podcasting about something, is that they're an expert at the thing they're podcasting about, but also they have a high ticket item for sale. So typically our clients have a goods or services from, 5K to 50K. And podcasting is really a good tool to help, I guess, sell more of that stuff in an ethical and impactful way. So yeah, do you want me to get straight into it, mate? Because I can share screen and kind of go over.
Well, let's just have a quick chat for a moment, though, because I want to talk
Yeah.
about something that you mentioned there as well. Like you're saying, I mean, that's the clients that you help and people that have got, high ticket items, that $5,000 to $10,000, I think you mentioned there.
Yeah.
So we're not high ticket item, we're very low
Mm.
ticket. So I just want to make sure as well that people do understand the value of doing these, even like wherever you are, like whatever you're doing, because from our experience in running myCRMSIM and over the last year. Like we've done webinars like this all the time. And then if anyone hasn't checked it out, you should definitely check out SaaS Dads. It's a podcast that I came up with just as an idea, as a different way to talk to people. I found it really interesting talking to other SaaSpreneurs, how the hell they were managing to grow their SaaS while they're having a family and kids, because that's what I've got. I've got a son, and the challenges of running and managing your family and school drop-offs and pickups and like a short day and then working at night and how you manage to grow and scale. So we did a podcast called SaaS Dads, and the the way that it runs, or I guess the amount of views or the authority that kind of gives us in our field is where a lot of the value comes in as well. Like for me, it was a lot of fun. I got so much out of it about talking to other SaaSpreneurs and SaaS owners. But it amazes me where we're not a big podcast and we're not big on our webinars. Like we're not getting millions of views. Like we're definitely not like Joe Rogan or anything like that. But I think I want to make sure that people understand before this, the value in doing it is just having something out there to begin with, right? You don't have to be getting a million views per video or a million downloads per podcast. Like getting started is the key, really, with any of these things. Would you agree?
Yeah, 100%. And I think a lot of people make the mistake of chasing the vanity metrics, right? They're trying to they think they should have the high views and then they get disheartened when they've got 23 downloads on an episode. But I would rather have 23 downloads from hyper relevant people than a million from people that aren't relevant. And you're not Hormozy. For most people anyway, I speak in
Yeah.
general terms, you're not Hormozy, you're not a generalist, you're focusing on a specific niche, right? So your software as a service in, say the SMS marketing space, that's a very specific niche. So you're not going to have, realistically speaking, huge numbers. So I think you're absolutely right. It is a powerful tool for building awareness, but also building trust and likability. But it also opens up a lot of opportunities, which is something I'm going to go over today as well. So I don't know if you've experienced this yourself, Gary, but the networking side of podcasting, right? I bet you have created some pretty good connections that whether they paid off now or they'll pay off in the future, you might not have otherwise had if you didn't have a podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. And the funny thing is the SaaS Dads podcast that we did, my idea for that, and I set it up so we did 12 podcasts, like 12 episodes. And I wasn't going to do any more than that. I was like, we'll just do 12 because that's my idea. And there's 12 cool people that would like to talk to. So I spoke to all of them and they're like, yep, love the idea. And I also thought as well, like, I don't know how I'm going to keep doing this because I was worried that I would kind of get stale. Like, I've only got so many stories about being a dad and running a SaaS. So I was like, I could get like it could just be boring after a while because I've only got so many stories that I can reiterate with or refer to with people, guests that I'm talking to, right? But the funny thing is, we did 12, and they hadn't even actually all come out yet. And then we went to High Level have their big summit every year in October in Dallas, and at Dallas, I had people coming up to go, your podcast is great. Can I be on it? I want to tell my story. So now we're going to do a season two, and we've already got, I think, 7 people lined up for like season two. So we're going to do another set of 12 for season two, which we're going to do next year. But I just had people coming and going, yeah, it was so good. Like, we love those stories. I'd love to tell my story. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess we're definitely going to do a season two. And we've got like it's SaaS Dads, but we're having some mums on there as well. We're going to have a couple on there as well that work together. So they're a young couple that are married and looking towards having a family. So we're trying to keep a good theme to it, but also broaden it a little bit as well. So like you say, connections and an interest was really really cool from getting that done. It amazed me. It really did.
Yeah, you never know who's listening or who's watching,
Absolutely.
depending on their preferences. And that's actually a thing as well. To go on a slight tangent, when I started doing podcasts for people, I thought most people were going to watch on YouTube. I went in with that bias, but actually the audio side of things is still very strong for 90% of our clients, and in some cases it actually significantly outperforms the YouTube side of things. So yeah, just a little tidbit I want to throw in there as well is don't assume that, oh, you should just do video only. Make sure you're doing audio as well, covering all the bases, because a lot of people are still listening in their car, going to the gym, going for walks, in the bathroom, whatever their listening habits are, they're not the same as yours. So yeah, don't go in with that kind of presumption or bias, which I admittedly had at the start. I was like, yeah, audio is not that important. And then we started testing with clients, when we first started, and actually very important, and it compounds quite a lot over time. And again, I don't know if are you on audio or are you just YouTube?
We're on audio, so
Yeah,
ours we're using, I forget the name of it, but one of those platforms that will distribute it out to Spotify, Apple,
yeah.
iTunes, or, goes out to a bunch of different mediums.
How does audio do for you?
I don't know. I haven't looked. So
Have a look at the stats. Podbean, yeah, Podbean is what you're using
I
apparently.
think it's
So
Podbean that we use.
yeah,
Yeah, I haven't
that's
actually looked. I'll be honest. I haven't looked at the stats. I just know that a lot of people talk to me about it. And I go, all right, well, let's just do the next one and the next one, and we get a lot of conversations out of it. It keeps going. And I'm not sure what I'd do if I looked at the stats anyway. I'd look and go, all right, well, I've looked occasionally and go, all right, well, there's I don't know, however many downloads for that one or whatever they might be. And I'm not even actually sure what to do with it. So maybe you can help us with that. Like, what should we do when we look at the stats? Go, all right, well, we'd like to double it. Like, that would
yeah.
be great to know.
Yeah. I guess there's a lot of ways we can touch on that in a bit. I think otherwise I'm gonna go all over the place and everyone's gonna be confused as to where to start. And I think if we cover the basics first, so um, I think one thing I want to touch on is, and I won't share my screen. I'll just chat to you. Is how to monetize a podcast. So one of the big things that people ask me when they start with us is how do you monetize a podcast? And a lot of people go after sponsorship deals, and I've got nothing against sponsorship deals. One of our clients has managed to secure a sponsorship deal, pays them whatever it pays them, let's say a grand or two a month. But they get significantly more from selling their own shit on the podcast than
Mm,
they ever would from a sponsorship deal. So I think when you're looking at how to monetize your podcast, think about your own stuff first. Like the podcast is a great advertisement for your own stuff, and the best advertisements don't feel like advertisements, right? If you look back at in the my background being copywriting, you look back at the advertorials that used to be in newspapers that look like articles, but they're actually just sales pitches. So I think that's a common mistake people make. And you don't even have to be thinking about selling your stuff in the podcast. You could do in episode ads if you want. Some of our clients do that. You could just every now and touch on it. It could be in the show notes, it could be in the description. It could just simply be that you're building enough awareness through your podcast that people start to know that you do this thing.
Just
Um,
wear your t-shirt. That's what
yeah,
I do.
have the logo in the top left, right hand corner,
Yeah.
whatever it is. It's all building awareness, right? And then people go, "Oh, what's my CR? What's my CRM sim?" And they look at it. So, yes, cool. Sponsorship deals are nice, but don't build your whole, in my opinion, most people shouldn't build their whole podcast around trying to get a sponsorship because that's probably going to be the lowest source of income if you really focus on podcast, as we're seeing for the people we work with. Yes, again, as you correctly said, my clients do have high ticket items. Not everyone does. It's still relevant for you if you have a low ticket item as well because of the opportunities that you get from the podcast and also because of the direct clients that you could get. And even if it's a low ticket item, you could get a whale client, someone who needs 50 of your things or becomes a really good referral partner. So just have that in mind that every episode is almost an endorsement for you. Um, and it's you as an individual. People buy from people, bit cliche, but it's true. It's also you, your company, and then you, your product. And generally people buy in that order. So they buy into you first as a person, then they buy into your product, company, then they buy into your product last. So, um,
And
so one of the, yeah,
it's a
go on, sorry.
great door opener as well, to go and talk to people because people need to build relationships in their business. And like you say, um, building that authority, building that trust, talking to people, it's a great door opener to just talk to people and just say, hey, look, I love what you do. And you can find out that they've got, whatever they've got in their business, that's complementary or would help your audience. Say, look, I love what you do. Would you come on and tell our audience about exactly what you're doing now, right? I love what you do. And I know that I don't know everything about it, even though we're kind of doing it. So how can we help our audience to get some better information about these things as well, right? So we just have conversations with people like you and say, hey, look, can you come on and bring your expertise to our audience? And I'm going to absorb some of it as well because it's good for me. So this is really good door openers to having good conversations, making networks, making referrals. So, we do that a lot with other people in the high level community because I'm genuinely interested in what they do as well. But it also gives us a nice, easy way to have an introduction and just say, hey, look, I'd love to find out what you do. Could you come on and talk to our audience about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is one of the strategies that we help our clients with as well is using the podcast in the exact manner you said, getting a foot in the door how we frame it. And that could be a foot in the door with someone who could be a great referral partner. It could just be someone you're really interested in. You want to learn from them, just to
Mm.
throw that out there as well. That's nothing wrong with that. But it could be someone who's a potential JV partner. They have access to your ideal audience. They could be a referral partner. They could be a potential client themselves. And it's so much easier to invite someone on to talk about themselves for 45 minutes than it is to pitch them on the idea or sales pitch that you have because they're getting pitched. I don't know about you, but the amount of cold emails and DMs I get every day is ridiculous, and they're all the same bland pitches. But if you actually show a genuine interest in the person, you're a human. Hey, loved when you spoke about this, or I've been seeing your name popping up. Just make sure it feels personal, right? It's not just a generic copy and paste message. Would love to invite you on to find out more. So, and people want the free exposure and PR as well. So,
Mm.
but yeah, great way to get a foot in the door with people that you otherwise wouldn't. So I tell my clients to write a hit list of ideal JV partners, referral partners, and potential clients. There are some people out there teaching how to get clients from podcasts directly, where they use a bait and switch methodology, where they basically spend the whole podcast just pitching the person, and I think that's pretty gross.
Mm.
For me, it's all about being a good human. So if I look at one of our clients, they're on the Gold Coast of Australia, they're a recruitment business. I don't want to say their names because they like their privacy. Um, but they invite people onto their show who they're genuinely interested in, that they want to learn from. And almost every guest has become a client in their recruitment business. And it's just because they're such good humans, they're such good blokes, and they have a real good chat. They're really good interviewers, and they'd never podcasted before. So they didn't know they really had these skills, besides the fact they're in recruitment, they're good salespeople. So they did have, some underlying skills, pre-existing skills going in. But almost every guest they've had has become a paying client because they're just so bought into the person. And then they're bought into the company, then bought into the service that they do. On top of that, they've also managed to launch a new business with one of their guests who they had no prior relationship with. They didn't know him. And that's on track for hitting, six figures by the end of the year already. That launched mid-year. Um, and they've had a bunch of referrals from like two of their guests have become monster referrers. And these are all just people they were genuinely interested in having. And
Mm.
they would never have met if it wasn't for the podcast. Or maybe they would, at events years down the road, but they've sped up that process. Um, their videos, maybe they get 100, 200 views on their videos, not tons, but the real money has come from building those relationships, getting the foot in the door. And I'll give you a little tip here as well for anyone who's interested. I get them to ask their guest for the name and contact details of two people who would be great additional guests in the future on the show. So don't just say, do you know anyone? Say, can you give me the names of two people? Again, that's if you've got that relationship, if you've built that right, if you spent enough time with them. And let's say 30% of them do, you've got an infinite loop of new guests and people that you can meet who probably are your ideal, JV partners, referral partners, or just connections.
Such a simple little tip. Thank you. I'm taking that one because like I don't do that. Like I just seem to chat to people because I know people in the community. But that's such a good idea. Like I got to start doing that. I'll ask you at the end, mate.
Yeah, yeah, and follow up on Facebook. The magic's in the follow up, as we probably all know,
Yeah,
everyone listening to this, right? So when I ignore you because I've forgotten, follow up with me in a week. You know what I mean? I'll be like, oh shit, okay, who can I think of that would be really good on this for you and your
yeah,
audience? But yeah,
yeah,
that
absolutely.
specific way of asking it, saying, can you give me the name of two people instead of just saying, oh, do you know anyone? Much more likely to get a reply from the name of two people thing. So,
Yeah, and
and
look,
as I said, yeah, go on.
and just touching on what you were saying there is like building that relationship and that trust with people. Like
Mm.
what I've found through doing this. All right, so like I'm a techie guy, right? That's my sort of background is like techie consulting, solving problems, right? I'm not a sales guy. All right. I can sell, I have sold, but I don't love selling. All right. There are people that love selling. They want to get on the phone and they're like, you're going to buy or die, basically. And they live for that
Psychopaths.
sale. They want to ring that bell. All right. That is not me. I don't like that. I genuinely like having conversations like this. I like solving problems for people and like our clients just going, hey, look, here's the problem, here's a solution. You either want it or you don't. Like I'm not that person that sits there and goes, look, here's the solution. You should buy this. Can't you see that you need it? Right? That's just not me. And the way that I work and doing this is exactly that. I just have conversation with people. People see, the interest and that you're actually a human. You're trying to help people, like doing stuff like this, like bringing people on. This will go. Hopefully, this will help other people about podcasting or encourage people to start a podcast. We bring people on all the time. We don't do, well, I think we've done maybe one affiliate promotion where someone actually gave us the link before the webinar. I said, hey, I've set up a link for you. We give you this and you'll get an affiliate commission or something. Like I've never done any of this to make affiliate commissions. I've genuinely done all of this stuff to try and talk to people that I wanted to talk to, help our audience, and then I don't do any sales basically because of this. It's just people see that and they go, oh, that's cool. Like, you've got a good product, and then they come and they order and purchase from us, which is perfect for someone like me who doesn't like selling.
Yeah, it's know, like, and trust.
Yeah.
In a nutshell. And just to be clear, again, I touched on this already, but when I say that your podcast should sell your own stuff, again, you don't have to actually hard sell and hard promote. It's just through that relationship. And you're building that relationship with your audience as well. So it's not just about the guest, it's the people listening as well. So there's something called the parasocial relationship phenomenon. Are you familiar with that term?
No.
Cool. All right. So this may be a little bit interesting to you. It's it's the same psychology behind celebrity stalkers. So those crazy celebrity stalkers that they're in love with the celebrity. They think they have a relationship with them. They know them on a deep personal level, but they've never met them in their life.
Mm.
So when people see you and hear you, see your content and hear your voice, you're actually leveraging the parasocial relationship phenomenon as well, where people feel like they know you on an intimate level, just not to the extremes of celebrity stalkers. And the human brain can't differentiate between meeting someone in real life and hearing them talk. So that's why when you, let's say, I don't know who you're a fan of in the marketing world. I'm going to use the name Hormozy because people go crazy about Hormozy, whatever. So many people will defend him and, just feel so passionate about him. They've never met him. They've just consumed his content, right? He doesn't know they exist. And that's the parasocial relationship. And you get to do that with every episode that you build out just by being you and being, the personality that you have. So that's another argument for not being too salesy in your podcast, right? Is just being that authentic version of you, and you will naturally attract the right people, and they'll feel like they know you. You have people coming up to you at the high level event. You said, did you know
Mm.
all of them?
No, I have a
No.
lot of them, and I had a lady came up to me, and this was one of the events. I think it was in London that I went to, and she came up and she's like, "Hey, Gary, I can't remember her name, so I apologize if she sees this, but she's like, hey," and she started talking to me. She goes, I was so sorry that your dog passed away when I saw that happen. It was so sad. She was such a beautiful looking dog. I was like, oh, thank you so much. Like, I
Yeah.
didn't know this lady. She's a lovely lady, obviously, but like she'd been following my stuff and saw, my dog passed away, and she was, we had a really nice chat. But it's a little bit strange on the other side of the coin when you've got these people coming up and they're like, hey, it's Tim or whoever. I was chatting to you. I seen that question. I'm like, awesome. Just remind me because I don't know what that question was because I get a lot of them.
Yeah.
And Jordan Peterson talks about it a lot because, like, obviously he's another level stratospherically in terms of podcasting. He's like, he can't go anywhere without people coming up to him and having a chat and telling him how they, he says for him it's great that people come up and they're telling their story and how he's helped to change their life. And he's like, which is beautiful, but I don't know but he goes like, I don't know any of these people.
Yeah.
So it's very strange, but he has a really nice lens of the world because he's constantly got people coming up, generally all being kind to him and saying thank you so much. But he's like, but it's really weird because they know me intimately. I have
Mhm.
no idea who they are. And he's
Yeah.
like, it's very odd. So he's obviously, a massive level. I have a fraction of that when I go to conferences and people come up to me. But it's really nice and it is a little bit strange sometimes too.
As long as it doesn't get to that celebrity stalker level, I think you're all right. But
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
excuse me. No, it's such a powerful phenomenon that you build it a little bit with the short form content on social media as well, but people don't have that length of exposure and consumption with the short form stuff. So with podcasts, they do. And now I've said this, you're going to find yourself that you are susceptible to this because everyone is. I think unless you're a psychopath with no emotions, everyone is susceptible to this. So you'll be listening to a podcast and just take note when you start smiling when they're saying something. And you feel like you're getting the warm and fuzzies because you really like this person. And you're like, holy
Mm.
shit, hang on, I don't know this person. I'm just listening to their content and seeing their videos. So that's one of the really powerful benefits of podcasting. Now, to go back to, so I guess, some more tangible stuff, there are four quick ways, not quick, but four ways to monetize your podcast. We've touched on some of the biggest ones already, but I just want to clearly go through each one so everyone who's listening can have the full picture, I guess. And maybe there's more ways, but these are the four things I focus on. And lead attraction, I think a lot of people I speak to initially when we're doing the sales calls with people, finding out what they want. They want to attract more leads, right? Everyone wants more leads. And podcasts are good at that. Um, and like I said before, you're probably not going to go viral. You're not going to have a huge podcast. Some people might, but even the right amount of people, the right amount of listeners can help attract new people and bring new people into your world. I got a guy who we used to work with. He's in the advertising space in the kids and parenting niche, and one of his episodes brought in seven brand new leads from just one episode because it was hyper relevant. And again, later in this talk, I don't know how long we've got, but I'll tell you how to create hyper relevant episodes as well. So that's kind of some proof there that you can attract new leads. But I don't actually like people focusing on that too much. Yes, it's good to get new people into your world, but I think where the magic really lies with a podcast is nurturing leads. People that may already have some awareness for you or are a certain level of awareness as far as sophistication and all that goes. So it's actually nurturing people. So they're spending more time with you. And what I see with a lot of our clients is they're spending money on ads, but people are going away and researching the brand first, or they're getting retargeted. There's all sorts of strategies that we use. Even a pre-call page. So for those of you that do sales calls, having your podcast on the pre-call page. So we have one of our clients does that, and people come in and they're, oh yeah, I listened to like five of your podcasts. It just really helps people to know, like, and trust you. As you've already said, people coming up to the event, they know you. Were you doing that at scale with your podcast? So particularly good from our point of view, people who have sales calls, but also those who don't, like yourself, where people are pretty much already sold and they're just, where's the sign up link? How do I get started? Because they're bought into you, they're bought into the company, then they're bought into the product through your great content. So lead attraction, lead nurturing / improving conversions. That's where the magic is. And then networking was the number three on the list. We've already kind of gone over that. Just making sure there's no kind of parts of that I've missed. And then getting dream clients, which I also touched on. But again, being a human, don't do the bait and switch strategy. If you see any of those strategies, again, it comes down to you and your ethics, but to me, they just don't align with how we like to do things. So the big take home there is just be a human, be you.
Yeah, I think definitely in this world of AI as well, people are using HeyGen, they're creating their animated self and they're putting out videos all the time and maybe they're doing multiple videos a day and stuff like that, which I don't have anything against. I know people are doing that and there's people that are making a killing doing that, they're doing really well. Um, but I don't know. I've had discussions with people. Some people agree, some people disagree that the authenticness is going to win out, and people are actually going to start looking for that human connection. And other people that go, yeah, it's not going to matter. 5 years time, nobody's going to care. I think it'll be probably a mix of both. There's going to be amazing AI avatar famous persons or whatever you might want to call them, I guess, that will generate revenue and traffic and likes and whatever. But I think there'll still be those people that, they want to look and see who's behind the door, who is behind this company, this product, this service, and look for the actual human feel behind there. I think that's really important. I think it's really important now, and I think it will stay important. We'll see.
Yeah,
Could be proven wrong, but I think there'll still be a very important element to that.
I think you're right. Um, I almost, again, no shade on people who are doing it, but I almost find it a bit gross to clone yourself to create AI content. I think people will more and more want connection. And I think when people find out that they're not actually seeing or hearing the real version of someone, they almost might feel a bit betrayed. And I think it's potentially, I could be completely wrong here, I think it's potentially quite short-sighted to use that for your entire content strategy, cloning yourself and just pumping in scripts to it week after week. So I think um, I was listening to a chat with Stephen Bartlett, Codely Sanchez, Daniel Priestley, and Hormozy a while ago. And they
Mm.
think that live chats like this, as opposed to highly polished stuff, is only going to become more and more important and powerful in the AI age, and even streaming potentially. So they put podcasts, live workshops, and streaming on this pedestal. And I know Hormozy said that traffic from podcasts and long form content is 40 times more valuable than social media content in general. And Seth Godin said something to the effects of it's about 100 times more powerful. So yeah, I mean, again, I'm sure there's plenty of people in your community who are doing the AI cloning of themselves. I just saw a big guru who I respect is doing it, but to me, it just feels kind of gross. Um, I want to hear the real person, not the AI version.
Yeah, I haven't done any of that, and
Same.
someone actually put I don't know if they put it in our group or anyway, as a sort of one of our clients who I know anyway, he put up a comment about doing that. So, what does everybody think? And my response was, I can't see the value in it at the moment because for me to do that, I've got to create, like, I wouldn't just want to throw out little things. You have to create a little script, make sure it's all right, run it, check it, make sure it sounds okay, and then put it out. Whereas it's much easier for me if I do want to make a little bit of content, I can just grab my phone and just record myself quickly. Go, hey, it's Gary here. This is what's
Yeah.
happening. Something, something, something. Send, done. Like that's actually quicker and easier for me to do,
Yeah.
unless I'm just doing it en masse. And I know people that are doing that, doing automated ones, and they just churn them out. I have that same feeling as you, as I just don't like that personally.
Yeah.
And for me to create good content, if I was just going to AI myself, would take me longer than it does just to create a short form piece of content on my phone anyway, which is completely imperfect. And that represents me and how I am and what's going on at that point in time anyway. And I prefer that.
Yeah, and you're getting your real thoughts, right? Sure, you can feed AI with as much as you want, as much as yourself as you want. But you're never going to get your real thoughts and originality in that moment, right? The spontaneity and stuff. And there's good use case. So there's Matt Ryder, who's a sales coach. He has some kind of AI bot that he's built with years and years of his knowledge and scripts and teachings and stuff. And you go and ask it questions. That's different, right? That's a bot you're interacting with. But I think when you're replicating yourself and the person watching isn't supposed to know the difference, that's where I think the line isn't good. So yeah, just being a human, I think is going to become more and more important. And whether that's through YouTube podcasting, streaming, whatever it is, I think it's going to be more important. So then you're doing all of this stuff. I guess the next step is how do you know what to talk about? So for you, Gary, obviously you got the SaaS dads. There was a theme of parenthood. So you kind of already knew what to talk about in a way. I'm going to talk about solo episodes here. So to take a step back, what we like to do is my clients, most of them will do one episode that's solo and one episode with a guest. So they're getting the best of both
Mm.
worlds. The solo episode, they get to leverage the parasocial relationship and build content hyper relevant to their audience. And then with the guests, they're kind of almost like a business building tool for them while keeping it relevant to their ideal audience. So it all starts with knowing who you're speaking to. And anyone who's done any kind of marketing work or anything like that will know you have your ICP or your avatar, the persona. who's your ideal client. And if you haven't done that work, then you definitely need to do that work to start with. But intimately know who you are talking to, who's your ideal client. From there, you get an understanding of what their pains, their fears, their hopes, their dreams, their aspirations are. And if I want to keep it really simple right now, I'd stop and say, that's what you're going to build your content out around, your solo content. And when I say solo, if you have a co-founder, you can do episodes with them. So it is two of you. That I still count that as a solo episode because it's not someone external from the business.
Mm.
So I have a few clients where that's the case, and they have a really good dynamic with two of them. We still count that as a solo episode because it's them. So you're building a content around the pains, hopes, fears, dreams, and aspirations. Now, a lot of the people we work to have sales teams. They record the sales calls. So what I get them to do is get the recordings, run them through AI, and they're looking for the commonalities. What are the biggest objections and the biggest fears and biggest pains they're getting? And they're the first kind of episodes that we'll shoot. Um, so it might be just trying to think one of the niches. It's sales coaching. I've got a couple of sales coaches who have podcasts, and they work really well for them. And one of the first things biggest objections they get is remote sales a scam. So that's some of the first episodes they'll record. Generally, will be based around is remote sales a scam, and it just explains what is remote sales, and that's going to a certain level of awareness. Certain level that's going to cast a wider net, right, to get, I guess, new people into the audience and also nurture people who might be curious on the fence, might just discover them, but they're not really sure what this remote selling thing is.
Mm.
And that's kind of the first stuff they get in. And then it might be around self-belief, self-confidence. And you're just going through and you're fixing the problems or you're speaking to the dreams. It doesn't always have to be you have this problem, here's the solution. It can be more aspirational based content as well. It can just be purely tactical. So it might be like, here's 5 things I would do to start a remote sales career in 2026 if I had to start from scratch with no experience, whatever. So you're really just taking the data that you have and the knowledge you have around your audience and building the content around them. So that's how we get people to approach it. Now, there's only so many things you can talk about, right? As you said with SaaS dads, there's only so many stories you have. What you've got to do
Yeah.
is get really good at talking about the same 10 things in 100 different ways. So you can come at things from different angles, but you're only ever going to, if you actually listen to, again, just going to say Hormozi because most people know who he is. You listen to Hormozi, his stuff he's saying the same shit. He's just coming at it from a different angle, different perspective. He's reframing it in a different way. And most people won't notice because they're only consuming bits of your content or because you're reframing it in such a way, they're getting a new understanding, a new depth of understanding of what you've said. So just get really good at saying the same thing in 100 different ways. And that's the same with any content you do, really. Is there going to be the core, you go back to philosophy of content creation, that you've got the core pillars of what you always talk about, and you're just coming at it from different angles. So with let's say a fitness coach, for example, they might talk about how to cut calories, and then they might have here's some low calorie swaps. Here's some home, here's some lollies, some puddings you can have that are lower calorie. You just talked about the same thing, reducing calories in 3 different ways.
Yeah, you're right. It's funny actually. I hadn't thought about that so much in terms of the SaaS dad things and how I change my stories, I guess, around fatherhood because they're so personal to me.
Yeah.
Like I have these little personal stories and things that have happened. But you're right, because I used to, do you talk about fitness? I used to use very, very similar example because when we used to do a lot of SEO for clients, we used to give them ideas for content and say, hey, we need to write content. And they go, but I can't write anything more because, like, we do this one thing and there's only so much you can write about it. And I used to use the fitness example in the same way or a similar way to what you just said there. So you go and look at the fitness magazines every week that are on the shelf, and it's like how to create 6-pack abs, get leaner with these 3 workouts, how to drop 7% body fat in 2 weeks, how to look great on the beach and get your bikini body for the summer. And they're all saying the same thing basically with a different headline. So yeah, it is exactly that. It's just reframing the content into a new piece of consumable information for people. And it's just the same stuff.
Yeah, exactly that. And just a little segue there as well, because you mentioned it, and it's a good tip you just made me think of. The fitness mags back in the day, tabloid magazines, all of those, they're a great way to learn how to structure the titles of your podcast episodes. Think of the
Mm.
ones that grab your attention the most. They're you're literally being given a template. They spent millions in over the years getting those titles right, and they're written by world-class copywriters. So looking at gossip magazines, tabloid magazines, fitness magazines, they give you really good women's weight loss magazines. They're still relevant. Women's Weekly and all those ones. Have a look at them for how to name, because a lot of people have really dry, boring podcast titles that just don't draw anyone in. So just a little bit of extra help I wanted to give you there. So going back to what to talk about as well. the final thing, study your competitors. So who else in this space? Um, what are they talking about? Don't copy them ever. It's unethical and it's just it makes you look like crap when people figure out that you're just copying other people. But take some inspiration, swipe an idea, and then make it your own concept. And then study your own content. What's your best performing episodes? Cool. We know that is remote sales a scam. We know that that's performed really well. Let's come at that from a different angle. Let's how to spot a scam in remote sales, or does remote sales really work in 2026, or is it just a big scam? You know, coming at it from a different angle, duplicating content that's already worked. Right? Is don't reinvent the wheel. Take the
Yeah.
wheel, make it a little bit better. So that's yeah, that's how knowing what to talk about.
I've taken the Joe Rogan approach where I don't look at the numbers and I just talk to people that I'm interested in and want to talk to because I've
Yeah,
already had a conversation. We just go, look, come on, let's have another conversation, and then we see where they go. And yeah, I probably could do better if I did all that stuff, but I like my approach,
yeah.
which is that.
Your approach is working for you, right? I'm talking about, I guess, this is what we do day in day out, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
we have to
You
optimize.
can
The
definitely optimize and do better. I'm not saying my approach is definitely not the perfect way.
yeah,
Like follow what Connor's saying. If you want to make these things better, you definitely should do that. I
yeah.
guess
But that's
yeah.
that's why people are paying us to do it, right? So we're doing it to a certain level, but just doing it in the first place, like you are, I think is important. Um, and you're getting results from it, right? So, I mean, you could go through your stats and just look at the top five. Like, it could take you 30 seconds. Oh, cool. This person, maybe we'll get them on for part two, or maybe we'll find someone who's on a similar topic, or maybe it's just because that person is really high status and we just happen to
Mm.
borrow some of their audience. It can be that as well. Well, this topic, cool. It takes 30 seconds to just click top videos on YouTube, see what was best performing on YouTube, and then do the same in Podbean. And cool. And for that day, and it could be for that day that you're stuck on what to talk about, or you don't have a guest. The guest is cancelled. Shit, what do I do? Okay, let's talk about this because I know that people want to hear about this. That might be the extent of your planning and your optimization. We'll be like, oh crap, someone's dropped out. Let's fill the hole with this. So it doesn't have to be too crazy. I want to quickly go over some mistakes people make. I've got about 20 minutes to I need to take my kids to the school, just to be
Yeah,
fully
sure, man.
transparent. I hope that's okay.
No,
I
no,
want to
that's all
try
good.
and give everyone as much as they can. So the big mistakes I see, boring titles. Again, I'm talking about optimization here, right? So having something out there, great. But I just gave the tip of looking at the tabloid magazines and stuff like that. Look at what's working for other people. Um, if you know nothing about copywriting, learn some fundamentals of copywriting. A really good book that's easy to read and I think super powerful. So my background is copywriting and I still love this book. How to Write a Good Advertisement by Victor Schwab. It comes with a bunch of old headlines and stuff like that as well. It tells you why they work, and you can kind of look at, oh, okay, you start to understand how headlines work. And a title is just a headline. Um, Crap thumbnails. So repeating a long ass title in the thumbnails, again, not optimal. Better than nothing though. But you could have something that complements the headline, the title. So treat it like almost like a subhead. So let's say you
Definitely
haven't.
that. Sorry to interrupt you, but definitely that's something that we are going through because we just put our stuff out there. We just like get it up. And when we first started doing it, it was just like throw the video on YouTube and basically store it there. We didn't have good titles. We didn't have decent descriptions for it. It was just like, here's the video. We're storing it. And we had a very rough description, whatever it was. And we are going through that process of optimizing all our stuff, definitely the thumbnails, the titles, the descriptions. And we are seeing our traffic and our views and everything increase on our channels because of that work after the fact as well. So definitely worth spending the time on that stuff. Yeah, if you don't have the time now, that's things that you can always come back to as well. And we're going through and redoing all of that stuff on ours, so that's really good stuff to do.
Yeah, definitely. And this, the acronym to remember when you're doing that kind of stuff is WIIFM, WIFM. What's in it for me? So just put yourself
Yeah,
in the shoes of your ideal viewer, ideal client, and just think, what's in it for me to stop doom scrolling on YouTube and watching whatever shit they're watching on YouTube and watch this video instead? What's in it for me to give you my valuable time? The title is the first place to start. Well, the thumbnail is probably what they're going to see first, but the title and the thumbnail are the first places to start. So, and it can work for boring topics as well, what you consider boring, because if the person's interested in it, then they're still going to watch it. It just has to be relevant and has to be, what's in it for me. Has to have those principles in it. So, so let's say you're doing a boring title might be episode, I've got this one written down here as a random example. Episode 37 of the Real Estate Podcast, a conversation about the current legislation in the Australian real estate industry. Okay, no one's going to watch that. Like, falling
That's
asleep.
fascinating.
Yeah. But you might change that to the new property investing rules that could cost you millions. And it doesn't have to be fear-based, right? Or could make you millions. Or these are the new property rules that are making people millionaires. So you just make it much more, oh, okay, I want to know about these new rules that could make me a millionaire. Getting a bit clickbaity, you find your own style, your own way of doing it, just giving you loose examples. And then the thumbnail, instead of repeating the current legislation in the Australian real estate industry, which is what most people do, it might be, for those in Australia, you'll understand this, evil Albanese. It could be bad, Albanese being the prime minister of the country. Bad news, question mark, access $10,000 today, avoid this tax. You know, there's so many different things it could be instead of just repeating that long, boring title. The other mistake, long ass intro. So again, you're always thinking, what's in it for me as the listener? Why should I listen to this episode? If you've got really good trust with people and you've got good status, you can get away with long, boring intros because people know something good is coming. But if you are relatively unknown, you need to get people hooked in. And that, again, you don't have to do an overly produced, crazy hook. It could just be, today we're going to talk about this so that you can do X, Y, and Z. Cool. I know what's going to happen in this episode. It might be a more elaborate hook. It might be that you're given some context and then how to achieve that context. There's lots of different ways you can introduce the episode. But I think with a lot of podcasts I listen to, there's a pre-recorded 2 minute long intro saying what the podcast is about. There's a minute of music and all of that stuff. And it's just like, wow, you've lost the attention of anyone new who's coming into this world who doesn't already know, like, and trust you. You can do the intro, but just get people interested first. What's in it for me as the listener?
I like you mentioned earlier Stephen Bartlett. He does this on Diary of a CEO, and I want to do this when we do season 2 of SaaS Dads. They always have. I'm assuming you listen to his podcast or do some of them.
Yeah.
What he does at the start is he takes like little snippets of a part that people have said. They go, whatever they might say, and they go, yeah, the top 3 things that you should do when you want to invest when you're young are, and then something else. So you kind of listen and go, oh, tell me, but that's not coming in until the actual podcast. And I think that is a brilliant thing that he does there. I really like. So if anyone hasn't listened to Diary of a CEO, I would definitely say go and listen to that just for the structure. And I think he's amazing, that guy. He's very young and very wise for his years. And the way he interviews and talks to people, I listen to him quite a bit.
Yeah, he's a world-class interviewer for sure. You could learn a lot. But remember as well, you're not Steve, not you. I don't mean you. I mean for anyone listening, you're not Stephen Bartlett. So don't go in and try and copy his personality.
Oh yeah, I'm
do
definitely
your
not
own version. Yeah, we do that for our clients as well. We create what we call it the trailer. For a solo episode, we don't bother with trailers. We'll just find a hook, or they'll do a hook. But for the guested, when there's a guest, even the driest topic of conversation, you can create some kind of suspense and drama. And we just call it open loops, right? So you've started this loop, you haven't closed it. So you've opened a thought or you've opened a tip or something like that, but you don't close it. There's a bit of an art to doing it, but again, it's practice makes perfect, right? And you can use tools like Descript to help you finding those moments. So you just, I don't know if you're familiar with Descript, but it's a video editing software that's AI assisted. And it makes it a lot easier to find those clippable moments that you can turn into trailers.
Is that like Opus Clip, same thing?
No. So it's like Premiere Pro, but not as powerful, and it's web based. But it's AI assisted. So you can it transcribes the whole video, and then you can edit the video by deleting the transcription, moving the transcription around, stuff like that. So you don't have to be a really good video editor. We use it a lot for the first draft of our process with clients, and then it goes into Premiere Pro where our video editors do all the fancy editing. But we use it to find the good bits, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Nice.
And create the raw material of the trailer, just giving you full transparency into our process. To find those clippable moments that we compile into a trailer, we rearrange it, and then we export it into Premiere Pro and add all the effects. So getting a bit more advanced here, but yeah, if you want to start doing that or just finding hooks, I do recommend Descript. It's a really good piece of software. It can also fix your audio a little bit as well if the audio is crap. Which kind of actually leads nicely onto the equipment section. I guess people want to know what equipment do I need to start podcasting? I mean, almost everyone here probably has everything they need, realistically speaking. A microphone and a camera. Now, we're probably not going to see eye to eye here, but again, that's fine.
I can tell by your professional setup and mine, and I did most of my first ones with the pair of these.
Yeah, but it's worked for you. That's the thing, right? It's worked for you. But in saying that, in my opinion, I do like, and maybe it's the people we work with, I do like them to have at least a decent quality setup. We're not going for a Steven Spielberg production here, so don't spend thousands. But I think if you want to, it's becoming more and more important, in my opinion, on YouTube. If you want to get that traction on YouTube, and again, don't neglect the audio side of things because that's still huge. But if you want to get the traction and you want to be perceived as a high quality brand, I think that's one of the things from a branding point of view. I think having a semi decent setup says a lot for your brand. So normally I'm very much like, ready, fire, aim, have the bare minimum. But the people we work with, I say, can you just go out and buy a better camera than the potato that you've got sitting on top of your computer right now, or a better mic? And if you're on a budget and you can't afford a decent camera, that's fine. Put the money into a mic. This mic was $200. Right, you don't need to get that. You spend $100. I'm talking Aussie dollars here, right? So it's not even real money. It's monopoly money. So 200 bucks. That's about as extreme as you need to go, unless you want to go real high end. Then you can spend $1,000 on a Shure mic. But this does the job. The camera was $1,000 at the time. I think it's about 700 bucks now. Again, you could get a decent webcam, couple of $100 you could get a 4K webcam probably. I forget the one that we usually recommend. I've got a list of equipment that I send to people that they can get based on their budget. And if anyone wants help with that, feel free to message me on Facebook as well. That seems to be the bottleneck for a lot of people, so I don't know what equipment to get. And that stops them. So don't let that stop you. And I'm kind of contradicting myself here because I'm saying I do like good quality, but if that's going to be keep you stuck in analysis paralysis, then screw it. Just do it with what you've already got, and you can always improve over time. But yeah, I think just a good you want your brand to look a certain way, and it doesn't have to be highly polished, right? Because you're Gary, you're kind of conversational, warts and all kind of thing, right? That's why people like you, and it's endearing. So you don't want to be too overly polished, but I think there's a lot to be said about having decent audio and decent footage on YouTube.
Yeah, no, I
um
would I wouldn't disagree with you, mate. I was just kind of like added bits here and there,
yeah,
and
but it works.
I'm looking at getting one of those. Someone told me about one of these. Friend of mine, Nick Papp, who he does a JHL thing. There's like a camera, and it's got a little screen within the camera. So when you set up your interviews, you can put the Zoom screen in the screen on the camera, so then you're looking directly at the camera when you're talking to the person, rather than like I'm looking at the screen, but the camera's just up here. So you have better eye contact all the time as well. So that's one of the things I'm looking at getting.
It's a
It's on the list of things to do, you know?
yeah, the endless list. I think it's
Yeah.
the Elgato teleprompter does that. So it actually has the screen
Yeah, I
on the
think that's
teleprompter.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's right.
I
So
forget what it's called, but that's on the equipment list that we send to people. We basically just pull, depending on their budget, we're like, okay, cool, you can afford this, and we pull that over to the list and tell them what to get when they need it. So yeah, entry level premium camera. So for example, there we go, I've got it written down. Insta360 Link is a good, like high quality webcam. Great. Sony ZV-E10 is the camera I'm using right now. There's a new version of it. Cool. You'll need a capture card if you're using a proper camera. Capture card is just a little thing that turns the camera signal into something the computer understands. A decent mic. If it's just going to be you, then a USB mic is going to be better than the inbuilt mic you have in your laptop. Cool. Happy days. Um, if you're using headphones and they're working and it's clear and it's good audio and people won't mind listening to it on an audio platform, because that's where it really matters. If people have got, they're wearing earbuds and they're hearing really crackly, crappy, tinny audio, they're not really going to listen. Or they're going to switch off after a while because it's just annoying to listen to. So if you've got crappy audio on your headphones, consider getting a better mic or using a audio enhancement tool like they have in Descript, where you can actually improve the quality of the audio using AI to make it sound less tinny and crappy.
audio is how obviously know Joe Rogan, and then young Jamie, who's
Yeah,
his technician. That's
yeah,
how he started with Joe Rogan. I don't know if you know this, but like he was listening to Joe Rogan's podcast, and he sat with him at some point. He bumped into him or met him somewhere at something, and he said, "Look, your podcast is really good, but your audio needs some work." And Jamie was a sound technician. He said, like, you should do all these things. And Joe said, "Look, come in and settle that up for me." And that's how he started, because of young Jamie
yeah.
telling him, said, you should fix your audio up. And then he's done it for him ever since. And now he's the biggest podcaster in the world. So, you're not wrong, mate.
But yeah, there's a lot to be said as well, just doing it. Like you have. So that's yeah, whatever you choose. If you can have a more complex setup, you want to build an in studio setup. Again, not sure if this is relevant for anyone listening. Perhaps it is. So two of our clients have built studios in their offices. Then you'll want to do the XLR microphones with an audio interface. Not to get too much in the weeds, but that's what you want as opposed to a USB microphone, because you can plug multiple microphones and headphones in. So that's an audio interface with
Oh, is that
XLR
for the
microphones.
guests? If you're having guests in,
Yeah,
is that what you mean? Gotcha,
yeah,
gotcha.
yeah. So you can
Yeah.
have like two mics, four mics, depending on the setup. You can have, 8 mics, which is ridiculous. But um, little things to think about as well. If you do buy a decent camera like a Sony ZV-E10, which is an entry-level decent camera, you'll want a continuous power battery pack so the battery doesn't cut out when you're halfway through a conversation. So you get them on Amazon for whatever camera you have generally, so you can plug it in and have it running all the time without having to charge the batteries. And then software. So recording, how do you record? You got Zoom, obviously, which is what you do, perfectly fine. Riverside FM is like Zoom but made for podcasting, much higher quality. So it records 1080p, 4K, whatever you want. You have to pay for that. A little bit less stable than Zoom, but much higher quality. So again, if you're worried about the quality, as again, if you want to start optimizing, perhaps you'd record on Riverside FM.
Is it
Um,
better quality? Because I've actually done a couple of podcasts with people, and they've given me that. Like we've met on Zoom, and then they go, "Here you go here when we start," and then I go into Riverside. Is it better quality audio and video? I've never really looked into it too much, but like I've just been on it a few times. I went, oh, again, it's one of those things that I've seen, and I go, probably should investigate this. Haven't had the time.
yeah, yeah, better quality audio and video, assuming you have a better quality setup.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
All right.
so it won't magically make it look better. And then OBS and Streamlabs, if you're doing solo episodes, you don't want to pay for Riverside FM. So Streamlabs or OBS, very easy ways to record yourself. Descript, you can record in Descript as well, but that's more video AI-powered video editing software that I mentioned before. You can record in there, but I find it very unstable. I've recorded stuff in there before and then it just disappears. Distribution, YouTube, Buzzsprout, or Podbean. You mentioned Podbean, much of a muchness. We use Buzzsprout because it's stable. I like it. It's a good interface. So we use Buzzsprout. We've used about 4 or 5 different ones, and we just go back to Buzzsprout every time.
Okay.
And that's pretty much everything I've got. I've got about 5 minutes until I need to duck off. So I suppose it's a opportunity for me to see if anyone has any questions. I've got some free stuff as well. I will share screen so you can scan the QR code if you want. I can drop you the link as well if you want, Gary. Um,
Yeah, if you
there
drop the
is
link, then we'll put that with the replay. So if anyone's watching this, there'll be a link somewhere with the replay on YouTube's or wherever you're watching it.
Hey, Connor, thank you so much for jumping in.
I can't hear
You're
you, man. Your
talking
mic's
there,
really quiet.
Aravind, but couldn't hear you, mate. Do you want to say that again? Need a better quality mic, mate.
Check the gains turned up.
Hello, mic testing. 1 million, 2 million, 3 million. Can you hear me
Just
now?
about here. It's very,
Just
very quiet, mate, but
yeah,
go for it.
we'll make it work.
Yeah, okay. So, Connor, so I have a strategy for, starting my podcast. So, I just thought about reaching out people on LinkedIn and just pitching them the idea of free podcasts. So, do you think it's a good idea? Because what I basically do is that I provide tech services for high ticket companies.
Um, what's in it for them? Like, if you're just saying, "Hey, I got a free podcast," like you want them to come on as a guest, or you want them to listen
Yes,
to it?
I want to come. I want them to come on a guest, and in
Yeah,
return for that, they get video edits and clippings of the podcast. So basically, I use Riverside to clip it, and they have content to to post them on their social medias, on their LinkedIn, and so on.
yeah, cool. Yeah, great. So I would just make sure it's personalized to them. Why you want them to come on? Genuine reasons.
Mhm.
Just keep it short. Um, I think you're in the, I'm just going to make this up. You're in the cybersecurity space. I see what your company, Cybersecurity X, is doing. And I think that my audience would get a lot of benefit from listening and also will it'd be a great chance for them to get to know you and your business and what you do. And also we'll give you a bunch of clips for social media. Just keep it like that. But make sure it feels really personal, not generic. But because I manage the podcast for our clients, for each podcast, getting 5 or 6 can we be on your podcast or do you want to come on our podcast inquiries a day, and they're all generic and bland. They're just not
Mm.
relevant. So just make sure it's relevant. And again, why you think they'd be good, why it's a good idea for them.
The WIF
That's how I
strategy.
approach it.
Got it.
Yeah, especially in the early days, like
Mm.
just to get the first few, and then you implement that strategy. Can you recommend 2 more people? It'd be great. And now you've got an endless loop of people, and you have to do less outreach. Not that outreach
Mm.
is bad. I mean, outreach is a great way to access new audiences and networks as well. But yeah, I would do it. Just make sure it's just sit in their shoes and think, are they getting 10 cold emails a day and 5 LinkedIn spammy outreaches a day? Why are they going to read your message and why should they take the time? That's all. Just
Got it.
approach it like that.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
No worries, man. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, mate. Well, I know you've got to run. You've got to go and do the school run for the kiddies. You're in WA, aren't you? You're over in
Yeah.
Perth. So what is it, 8:30 for you? 7:30?
8:30. Yeah.
8:30
Yeah.
school run time, mate. All right. Well, look,
That's it.
thanks for coming in. I guess if we could sum this up, it's like make a start with whatever you've got if you can. Um, Pick your audience, just have conversations. If you want to monetize it, you've gone through a few different ways there, but obviously the main benefits around this hopefully should be that you're getting yourself out there, your brand, making connections, building an audience, building content, and doing it from genuine reasons. And that's been our experience. So I would share that with everyone and say that's been our experience, like doing this from genuine reasons, just having a conversation with people. Like you and I had a conversation a couple of months ago, whatever it was, and I was like, mate, that's cool. I remember you giving me some tips at the time, which I've forgotten, and I'm going to pick that one back up. Definitely the ask two people, and then genuinely be interested, like to bring those people in, have that conversation, and share that with your audience, really, and then just keep on going from there and build and grow and improve as you go, and you'll only get better. That's the
Yeah,
thing.
your first episode will be crap. Accept that. Own it. And
Right.
crap by your own standard, not crap to everyone else who's listening to it. You'll think it's crap, but people will listen and be like, "Oh, it's great."
Yeah, and
Just remember that.
nobody's judging you. Everybody cares about themselves more than you. You are so insignificant in people's lives, so don't worry about it at all.
That's it. You are meaningless. You are worthless. So you might as well record it anyway. I'm joking.
Exactly. So if people want to reach out to you, Connor, you're over in WA in Perth. So anyone who wants to reach out to you, anyone in different countries, whatever, you work with people all over the globe. Reach out to you. We'll put the link to you below here, that QR code. If you want to flash that up again, mate, just pop your screen up again. Pop that up. We'll make sure that the link is below there. If you want to find out how to set up profitable podcasting, Connor can help you to do that. And definitely recommend that you get in touch and have a chat, mate, because it's been really good talking to you.
Yeah, even if anyone needs a hand, I just got some questions or whatever. I don't mind. I'll help you. I'm not going to try and sell people on our services, especially if they're not. We're very specific about the type of people we work with, but I'm always helping people. Like, how do I do this? Where do I go for this? Is this title any good? I'm like, yeah, it's cool. Or no, it's rubbish. Here's what you need to do. So feel free to reach out. My name's pretty unusual, so I'm easy enough to find on Facebook. I'm most active on Facebook. If you message me on LinkedIn, it'll probably be a week until I see the message. So
Yeah, I'm never on LinkedIn. I might have to go there now because my Facebook account just got suspended this
it
morning.
did,
So
yes,
we're going to go and try and
yes.
sort that out after this.
All right, good luck with that, man.
All right. Thanks so much for coming in, Connor. I really appreciate your time, mate.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Gary, and thanks for the question as well, Aravind. And yeah, hopefully this is helpful. As I said, reach out if anyone needs help.
Thanks, mate. Take care.
Cheers. Bye.